Facebook and YouTube. When you come on, please tell us hello. Tell us how you're doing today and tell us where you're from. You can comment or ask questions on both platforms. Victoria is going to read those out loud so that I can answer any questions you might have. So, a week or so ago, I said that we were going to do some Christmas in July, and that's what we're going to do today. Quite honestly, what we're making can certainly be used other than Christmas. Here in the South, the Magnolia is actually the flower for Mississippi, and it's the flower for Louisiana, just in case you didn't know. I had no idea about that. But today we are going to make a wreath out of magnolia foliage, and I thought I would show you how to do that. Is everything okay, Victoria?
Yeah, there's something on there I'm just going to take off real quick.
Okay. Victoria is working on the camera. If you can hear me, do me a great big favor. And over on Facebook, if you'll give me a thumbs up or a little heart emoji, that's going to help us know that you can hear us. Because, you know, when we use this camera, we never know. So what we're going to do is I am working, this is going to be a very inexpensive wreath. If you buy these wreaths and you buy them artificial or faux, you are going to pay a fortune. I mean, $150 to $200 for an artificial magnolia wreath. This is a very simple way that you can make a wreath for your door, and you can do it very, very inexpensively as long as you can get your hands on some magnolia foliage. This is a wreath form, a metal wreath form I picked up from the Dollar Tree. $1.25 for this wreath form. They most of the time have these, but they certainly have them at all the holidays. So check and see if your local dollar store has them. If they don't, any of the craft stores do. I think even Walmart may carry it. But here is a metal wreath form, and I went out and cut branches from the magnolia tree in the churchyard. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to take Victoria's handy dandy snips. These are her favorite. And I am going to trim up the stems on the magnolia. Now the next thing I'm going to use is zip ties. So I have a large handful of zip ties. And that's how I'm going to attach our foliage to our wreath form. So I'm just going to take my snips and I'm going to snip those stems a little shorter.
You have a lot of hellos.
Hello everybody. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you so much. And forgive me, I'm sniffing. I've got, my head is so stopped up. I've got allergies so badly, and I sneeze 1,000 times today, so I apologize if I'm sniffing. I'm going to take this magnolia branch, and I am going to hold it right onto this wreath form, and I'm going to use this zip tie, and any zip tie will do. I picked up this zip tie from, I believe it was at the Lowe's. I usually get about 800 at a time because we use zip ties like nothing else, like water. I'm going to take that zip tie and I'm just zipping it right to that wreath form. Now, you can pick up your zip ties anywhere. But a zip tie is the easiest. Now you can certainly use wire if you want to, but I've just found that zip ties are quick and easy. So I've got one zip tied on, and then I'm going to take another one, and I'm just going to layer it right on to, I got it on, right on to, thank you, to my wreath form. So it's just really going to be a layering process.
Kathy Riddle asks, what size is the metal ring?
Oh, I just cut the tag off. Let's see. This one's an 18-inch wreath ring, and it came from the Dollar Tree. Thanks, Kathy, for asking. Sorry, I didn't say that. So you can see where I've just zip tied 2 of those branches right onto that wreath. And then you're just going to steady layer it. Now, you can add as much foliage or as little foliage. It's really up to you on how full you make this wreath. For me personally, I'd rather it be full. So, And you can even take, if you've got some smaller branches, just take them and layer them together. And I don't know, am I doing a good job of showing, Victoria? I don't know if I'm...
Yeah. Miss Marianne says, appreciated the cemetery and hydrangea video.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Dawn asks, is this for a customer?
It is not, Miss Dawn. I just thought we would do Christmas in July, and I would show you how to make a very simple Christmas wreath using magnolias that we cut out of the yard at the... I have a little church across the street from us, and they have a very, very large magnolia tree. And so I just cut some magnolia right out off the tree. And I wanted to show you how simple it was. A little time consuming, but very, very simple to make a fresh magnolia wreath.
Kyle Fletcher says, hi again, hope you're well.
Hello, Kyle, we are well. Yes, thank you for asking. We are doing great today.
Kyle also says, it should be Christmas all year round.
I agree. Okay, so I am just taking my branches. This one's kind of sparse, so I'm just layering it. And I'm just kind of running those stems kind of right behind that wreath form. Throwing my stuff on the floor.
Oh, Miss Lenise Carter, glad to have you back, Victoria. Tell us about your mission. Oh, thank you. Well, it was a soccer camp and then a music and arts camp. And so Owen, we all helped out with this soccer camp. Owen was one of the main people for that. And then they asked me to teach dance for the music and arts camp. So I got to do that, and it was really cool, and the kids were awesome. And we had one free day in New York City, and that was a lot of fun. And then we came home, but it was a great trip.
And so, did you tell the children about Jesus? How did you integrate that?
So they really wanted us to focus on. So we had devotional times every day with the kids where we would ask them questions, and they would also get to ask questions. We went over the Lord's Prayer with them, and we had worship time with them, and so it was just really cool. We had a little performance at the end of the camp where they asked me to dance, or had the kids dance to a worship song.
Tying it in the back.
Mm-hmm. But it was good, and it was a good trip, and I think a lot of the kids were interested in what we were talking about. We had a lot of kids ask questions about it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. So it was good.
So I am just steady layering. So I'm just taking each little branch. I found that was kind of spinning. The one that I just put in there just a minute ago was spinning just a little bit. So I'm going to layer some branches on top of that one so it won't spin.
Thank you, Miss Lenise. Miss Mary Lou asks, will the magnolia branches last long?
They last a really long time, but they dry pretty good too. And so the fuller you make it, when they dry, they will shrink just a smidge when they dry. And so the fuller you make the wreath, the less shrinkage is going to have any effects on the wreath, if that makes sense. So yes, the stems, the foliage will shrink a little bit, and they're going to get crispy. But one way to keep it pretty is once it has dried out, you can take and you can paint it with some gold spray paint, and it really makes it so pretty. But I have taken, even at Christmas time, I've taken fresh magnolia and tucked it into some of my arrangements that have faux flowers on the buffet, and they stay pretty for months. I mean, they're going to start to dry out and get crispy, but they last a good long time. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking 2 stems and layering it because it just makes for a fuller stem. I'm just laying it right in to that wreath form there. And I'm going to just zip tie it.
You have, let's see. Where did it go? Miss Carrie asks, how long will this stay fresh? And Miss Susan Davis says, I love Christmas decorations. How long will this last on the inside or outside door?
Okay, so the inside, if it's heat, if you have your heat on, it's going to dry out faster. It's going to last for several months. I mean, it'll be pretty for several months. Now, it does dry out, but it will last a good long time. Now, if you will take this foliage and spray paint it gold, or you can even add some green to it after it started to dry out and discolor, it's going to help it stay pretty. But it's going to last and stay pretty for a long period of time, like months.
Dawn asks, did you spray paint the leaves?
I did not, Dawn, but I almost wonder if we took and sprayed them with polyurethane, if that clear poly would help hold its color. Okay, so you see how pretty and full that is, and that's how it looks on the back. So, but so full, so pretty. So simple. You see how easy this is.
Miss Marianne asks, can you dry and preserve magnolia leaves?
They're just going to dry on their own, and if you will spray them, I think that's going to help with preserving them. But I may spray it with poly and see how long it'll last, because that would be a good idea to see, just to see how long it'll stay pretty for us.
Eileen says, hi, I love to watch. Do you use all rows of form to zip tie or only the center row? Thanks.
I am kind of mixing and matching. So I have one on the outer rung, one on the center rung, and then one. So I'm just kind of mixing and matching to get it full enough. There's really no rhyme or reason. I just want it full.
Oh, thank you, Miss Jan. That's very kind. Ann Ward says, hello from England. Love Christmas decorations.
Hello, Ann. Thank you for being here.
From Accrington, England.
Thank you for being here.
Kyle asks, do you not need to mist the wire first?
No. Mist, like as in water?
It says miss, M-I-S-S.
Oh, mist the wire? I'm not sure what that means.
Miss Jane says, I sprayed some leaves for Christmas. They turned out pretty.
Yeah, they'll stay pretty for a good long time. And I'm wondering if that polyurethane will keep them from getting discolored.
Mr. Carl meant moss, M-O-S-S.
No, so with this, I am not mossing it because I don't necessarily, my plans are not to have a water source. Now, you could moss it if you wanted to, but for me, mossing would only cover mechanics, and the greenery is doing just a great job of covering the mechanics, so I am not adding moss. Now, you can use moss and wire as a water source if you wanted to, where you would take and add moss into the center of the wire, of the wreath itself. You can wet that moss but wire it really good together, and that would be a great water source. For this, I don't necessarily need a water source, so I'm not mossing it.
He says, sorry, it was autocorrect.
No. Oh, so me and autocorrect, we have fights often.
Jocelyn Bradley says, gorgeous, I wish we could grow them in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
So the magnolia, this is a southern magnolia, and it blooms very large white blooms, usually in May and June, sometimes as late as July. And so the southern magnolia is actually the flower of the state of Mississippi. I did a reel not too long ago when they were blooming. But it's a very large white bloom. But the only problem with the magnolia when it does bloom is you cannot cut that bloom, because when you touch it, it causes it to brown. The Magnolia is a whole lot like an apple. So when you cut an apple, when you peel it or when you cut it in half, you know how the apple will brown after it's cut open? Well, it's almost like oxidation, like when metal will tarnish or metal will rust. It's almost the same. It's something to do with the air hitting that apple. Well, when you touch the Magnolia bloom with your hands, it's something about the oil in your skin. Here in Mississippi, so if I touched a gardenia, it's going to turn brown the same. And so we don't use magnolias as cut flowers strictly because they won't hold up. Very fragile, and they won't hold up. So if ever we use the actual bloom, it's always going to be a faux bloom. But we like to use the foliage a lot, and we'll use it at Christmas time to go in fresh garlands outdoors because it lasts so much better than like evergreens. It doesn't dry out like the evergreens do. Evergreens want to drop all the little, what am I trying to say? The evergreens has the different little my words won't come. I'll get it in a second. But evergreens wants to shed, and so magnolias don't shed like the evergreens do. Needles, they're little needles. It wouldn't come for some reason. I'm like, my words will not come out of my mouth.
Kimberly Skinner says, glad to catch you live.
Hello.
So glad you're doing a wreath for Christmas. I've been wanting to do myself a fresh wreath. So
but look how simple and easy. I haven't zip tied that one in, but see how simple. I mean, it's very, very simple to do. And it looks so lush and so pretty and so expensive, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. And it cost me $1.25 and a little bit of time to cut the greenery.
Kathy Riddle says, think you can preserve them in glycerin prior to you putting it together, because I've seen fall leaves preserved by putting them in glycerin. Somehow you cut up the bottom of the stems, put them in the glycerin, and I think the stem sucks up the glycerin and therefore preserves them. And
interesting.
Then you can put it together.
Yeah, I've never done that before.
Pam says, I love magnolia leaves and blooms. The smell is amazing.
Oh, they really are. They do smell so pretty, don't they? And they really are beautiful. Such large, beautiful flowers.
Miss Karen says, hello from New Zealand.
Hello, friend. Welcome, welcome. And when you go to zip tie it, be sure to pull that zip tie really tightly so they don't twist. So see how?
Miss Mary Lou, I will do a live soon. I feel like I got off the hook with vacation because I forgot about it. But I can do one soon.
They are always on you, aren't they, Victoria? You can't ever get away from it.
It's fun. It's fun. But I do forget about it sometimes. Miss Christie says hello from Texas. Absolutely beautiful wreath and very cost effective.
Isn't this amazing though? Isn't that fun that you can make something so lush and pretty for very little money? Now you can do the absolutely same thing with any foliage cut out of your yard. I actually this afternoon did a video over on YouTube with foliage I cut from the yard here at the flower shop. And so I want you to know that you can go out and cut your foliage and make lovely things out of greenery out of your yard. Or go and knock on your neighbor's yard and ask permission to cut, if you have friendly neighbors, mind you, to ask permission if you can have some of their foliage out of their yard. Or ride down an old country road and stop and harvest different things. It's so fun to forage and find really pretty things to make a pretty arrangement with. But I want you to know with this magnolia, you can do this with any type of foliage that you cut. It can be any evergreen for Christmas. But I really think with this magnolia wreath, this could be pretty, I mean, year round. It's not something that has to be just for Christmas.
Muhammad on YouTube says looking very
I'm
nice.
throwing things on the floor. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Dawn says, Victoria, I won't forget about the live.
Miss Dawn won't forget. She will remind you.
Miss Karen Page says, wow, Monty, that's looking totally awesome.
Isn't it amazing, though? Isn't it crazy that it's just a little bit of magnolia cut out of the yard?
Allison says, I wish we had magnolia up here. I just love it.
All right. So there is the magnolia wreath. I don't think I have a nail in the center. It's going to be a little high. Okay. You can always go in and trim. So if you get any stems that are looking a little awkward, you can go in and trim. You can add more. Like this one, I think it needs a stem or two more. But being that everything was harvested, you can absolutely, did we go dark? Or are we going to? Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, my,
Okay. It can't go as tall as, I try to get it as tall.
but you can absolutely continue to add to it. Now, if you want other foliages, after you've put this base of magnolia leaves in, you can cut you some cedar. And I want to kind of show you, right now in Mississippi, our cedar, and it may be the different types of cedar, but our cedar has little blueberries. But I even cut some cedar, and you can tuck some of that in if you want to. Look at that blue up against that green. I mean, it's just so pretty. Now, this cedar is, of course, gonna drop all of its little, once it dries out, everything's gonna drop off of it. It just dries out and it starts to shed really, really badly. But how pretty is it for like a party of some type to add some of this greenery to your wreath? Now, this would be zip tied in just the same way. All of this was free. It was cut out of the yard. If you want to add a bow, you can certainly add ribbon. For me personally, I probably wouldn't even add ribbon. But you could. Victoria, I think I threw my ribbon on the floor. Do you see it? I'm going to tie a bow and show you how to tie a bow. So I didn't go up in the attic to grab all of my Christmas ribbon out, but I had this pretty red gingham, and I thought we would tie a pretty bow. So this is just a wired red gingham ribbon, and so I'm going to tie a quick bow to add to the wreath. I'm going to take it and I'm just holding, so one side is front and one side is back. I'm just taking it with my thumb and I'm going to roll it over. This is our center loop. I'm going to take my wired ribbon and I'm going to twist, and I'm going to make a loop, twist, a loop, twist. And I keep twisting just because I'm a twister. Now this ribbon is actually pretty on both sides, so if it's pretty on both sides, you do not have to twist.
Bernice Stroll asks, does a wreath have religious significance? This is stunning.
So it does, but I'm going to have to look it up because I don't remember all the details of the wreath. It's never ending, so it's a solid circle. I don't remember all of the reasoning behind the wreath for Christmas, but I will look that up and I will put it in the picture so that you have the details on the history of the wreath.
Miss Eileen says, looking good, love the natural colors.
Thank you. And again, if you wanted to add Christmas ornaments, you could. You can add anything you want to. After it dries out, I am going to take a little bit of gold spray paint and pop it with a little bit of gold spray paint. And what that's going to do is cover up any of the dark spots or the discoloration that happens. Dries out. Yeah.
Susan Davis says, just beautiful. Could this be used on a very large table as a centerpiece with a candle in the center?
Absolutely. It would be a wonderful Advent wreath. If you wanted to use it for Advent during Christmas, you could use it there. It would be beautiful on a table. But you could really use this for most seasons. The Magnolia is always it's an evergreen pretty much. It's always green and always pretty, so you can use it for any season. It does have very big foliage, so it's a very large foliage, but we use it a lot even for weddings. Like we'll do magnolia wreaths for weddings. But you see how very simple and easy that was to put together. Just grab you a bag of zip ties, and you can use any type of foliage. It does not have to necessarily be magnolia.
Carol Little says hello from Great Falls. Oh gosh, what is MT? Is that Minnesota?
MT?
MT.
I thought Minnesota was MN. Montana? MO.
Oh.
What's MT? I don't know. Do we know our states? We don't even know our states.
I don't remember.
We don't even know our states. We apologize.
Miss Carol says hello from Great Falls. First time I have seen you live. Have watched your videos and learned so much. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, you're so welcome, friend. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just taking and I push the wire right through that wreath. I'm just twisting it.
Oh, Allison says yes, Montana. It's
Montana. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Allison. Okay, so there's our ribbon. You don't have to put ribbon. Again, I probably would not, but I thought I would show you ribbon. And I'm just going to take those little tails. But see how very, very simple and very pretty an evergreen wreath can be. So easy and so pretty. And so fun to put together. I mean, like, I don't think it took us very long. You can do the absolutely same thing with any type of foliage, and you can add anything you want to. So if you have pretty picks that you wanted to add, you can certainly add those. I would suggest just zip tying them to that wreath form, but really anything would work. But yay, that's so pretty.
Miss Marianne says, just change the bow for any season. Foliage is beautiful all year.
Absolutely, and you could even, if some of the foliage gets to where it's looking too discolored, go get more magnolia and just add it back into the wreath. So have some dried and some fresh so that it looks pretty. But you could change out. You can adorn it with whatever. You could even put a really cute sign tucked in there. But for $1.25, goodness gracious, if you changed it every other week, it wouldn't matter, would it? Because it doesn't take very long. All it cost me was the zip ties and the wreath form. And of course, you change out your ribbon.
Miss Lenise Carter says, I went to a yard sale a couple of weeks ago and the yard beside the house having the sale had trimmed their magnolia. I really wanted to gather it up and take it with me, but I could not figure out what to do with it. Now I do, and will grab any that I see on the side of the street.
Yes, and people trim them up all the time. And anytime you see foliage trimmed, go and pick some of that up. Take that home and make a pretty arrangement. If you go for a walk and someone has trimmed anything, cut that. Take you a handful. It's always fun to see what pretty things you can make with things that you foraged for. I thought I would make us another arrangement. I don't know when I'm going to do it, but I thought I would use some of this cedar and make another pretty Christmas arrangement using greenery that I just cut out of the yard. But we're going to do some more Christmassy things this week. We'll do something fun.
Mm-hmm. Wayne Owen says, paint it gold for Christmas.
Absolutely, gold would be beautiful. And I usually wait and paint it gold after it starts to discolor a little bit, just because the green is so pretty. I usually will take and paint it gold afterwards, but you can do it however you want to. You really can't mess it up. It's beautiful.
Miss Sandra Edmonds asks, how long do the leaves last?
I would say they'll last for a long, long time. I'm going to actually time it this time. I'm going to put a date on it so that we know when it was made and we can kind of watch it. I would say it would last a good solid month being this pretty. And of course that always depends on how hot the climate is. Like in Mississippi right now, it's going to dry up terribly if I placed it outside. But in the wintertime, because it's so cool, you're not going to dry out quite as bad. And so I would say it's going to last at least through the Christmas season. If you put it up, I usually decorate right there after Thanksgiving, and I leave my Christmas up throughout. Now I will also, for my home, I will also make a pretty garland. I will use a faux garland and add the magnolia to and the evergreens to the faux garland. And I'll do that video for you too, so that you can see how easy that is to make a beautiful fresh greenery garland with things that you went and harvested yourself. It's so easy. It's as easy as this is. And you're just going to use an old garland that you picked up for very inexpensive, and it's going to look very lush and very pretty. You could absolutely add berries. You can add anything you want to. With this, you could add faux berries, and they'd be bright and pretty and red, but really anything works.
Dawn says that wreath is gorgeous.
Thanks, Dawn Miller. Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, thank
Did we go dark?
Yep. Jan says, thanks, Monty. It's beautiful.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you so much. Victoria is fixing the picture. We did go dark. We know it. It's going to take 2 seconds. I'm sorry. There we go. Are we back? It takes just a second.
Yep. And I think that's about it.
All right, guys, thank you for being here with us. If you would do us a great big favor, if you will share this video for me so that your friends can see it, the more you share it, the more we grow, and the more we grow, the easier it is to do these videos for you. So we'd love it if you would share these videos. You can also check out brand new videos over on our YouTube channel. I don't know if any of you have subscribed to our YouTube channel or not, but we also do videos over there. And so be sure to hop over to YouTube and check us out there. We also have a website that has our t-shirts, mugs, and different things. We'd love it if you check those out too. Guys, I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, and we will be back tomorrow. I don't know exactly what we're going to do, but it'll be something fun. If you have any suggestions for something you'd like to see, and that could be on YouTube or Facebook, please drop that down in the comments below. Actually, Miss Gwen, wasn't it Gwen? Asked us to make a silk arrangement for the cemetery, and we did that for her today. I posted that this morning. So if you have anything you'd like to see me do or like me to teach you, I am happy to do that. So please drop that in the comments, or you can send me a message. I'll see you in the morning at 8 o'clock doing our devotion. I'd love to have you there, and then we'll be back tomorrow afternoon to make pretty